All right, we've already seen questions very similar to this one on this test in this section. So this is a good example, again, of predicting the question. It's easy to look at this and say, oh, it's just about the wording, right? Which phrasing is best? But there's more to it than that, and we need to look kind of around our underlined portion and get a sense of what's going on in the sentence. And structurally, we're going to need to think about what's going on with complete sentences versus fragments. Like, this is about punctuation, not because the choices contain punctuation, but because the choices are right next to a comma. And we have to think, what is that comma's function? It's attaching pieces of a sentence together, but we need to make sure we're attaching pieces that can be attached. So as it's written, 1 MCP works by limiting a fruit's production of ethylene. That's a sentence. That's a complete sentence. So we could put a period right there if we wanted to. We could also use a comma to attach something else to the sentence, but let's see how it sounds. It is a chemical that causes fruit to ripen and eventually rot. That's also a sentence. So as it is, this is a run-on. We are not allowed to use a comma to attach two complete sentences together. We could use a comma and a conjunction. We could do something like 1 MCP works by limiting a fruit's production of ethylene, and it is a chemical that causes fruit to ripen and eventually rot. That sounds weird, but grammatically that would be okay. The real problem, though, is that we don't need these words at all, because what we're doing in this part here, where we talk about the chemical, is we're just describing ethylene. We're just giving a definition of it. And by removing choice A, the words in choice A, or choice C is kind of similar, we're basically taking away the repetitiveness. We don't need a pronoun to refer to ethylene again. It's right there. We can just kind of put a comma, and basically what we're doing is turning this second part from a sentence into an extra clause and a positive that's defining what ethylene is. And when we do that, since it's no longer a sentence, it's no longer a problem, and we can use a comma to attach it, and so that's all good. So the only other thing I'll add is choice B. The word being is almost always going to be wrong on the SAT. It's just a word that tends to create problems. So it usually doesn't sound right, and grammatically it's not gonna make things better. We would also, because of our style rules, prefer to keep it short, to keep sentences as short as possible. That's the SAT's preferred style, and that does happen when we pick choice D. But I'll just say that that's a coincidence, okay? The reason that D is right is not because it's the shortest. It's because it fixes an actual grammar problem, and we wouldn't have a choice here. This is not about long versus short. This is about sentences versus fragments. And so that is the big thing to think about. You might have gotten it right anyway, despite that, but you really want to try to get in the right frame of mind for these questions. Questions about fragments and run-ons are very difficult because it seems like it's about how it sounds, but it's much more than that. There's grammar involved, and there are hard and fast rules that we need to follow. And if we don't follow them, we might get tricked on a harder version of a question like this.